In close quarters battle, every decision counts, and every mistake can have life-altering consequences. Today, we're breaking down one of the most critical concepts in room clearing: angles. Understanding and mastering angles can mean the difference between success and failure, in-game or in real life. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into why angles are so important in room clearing. Whether you're a military operator, law enforcement officer, or just someone interested in tactical training, this video will help you understand how angles dictate everything in close quarters battle engagements. Let's get started. Angles in CQB refer to the lines of sight and fields of fire created by walls, doors, furniture, and other obstacles in an enclosed space, or in an open space. These angles determine what you can see, what the enemy can see, and where threats might be hiding. Angles are always opening and closing on you, so at its core, CQB is about controlling those angles. Take this doorway for example. As I approach, the angles change with every step. If I rush in without understanding the angles, I expose myself to unseen threats. Failing to respect angles can lead to catastrophic results. Here's why angles are so critical in CQB room clearing. First, we need to minimize our exposure. By carefully slicing the pie, you reduce the amount of your body that's visible to potential threats. Second, we want to control the space. Clearing angles methodically ensures that you dominate the room one section at a time. Finally, understanding angles helps you predict where threats are likely to hide, allowing you to stay one step ahead. Let's talk about slicing the pie. This is a methodical way of clearing a room by moving in small, deliberate steps to reveal portions of the room gradually. Notice how each movement uncovers a new angle without exposing the operator to unnecessary danger. This technique allows you to clear a room systematically. As we approach, the angle into the room changes. The further we step off of this wall, coming back this way, you can see we aren't moving laterally, we're just moving up and down. And as we move further south here, you'll see that our angle into this room opens up more. So if we can, we want to stay off this wall as much as is practical, because that's giving us a further view into the room, as opposed to if we stay on this exact same line here. We stay on this line, but we move up, we see less into the room. So the more we can, we'd like to stay off the wall. It gives us a better view into the room. Think about if there's someone right here. We want to be able to see them as soon as possible. If we're stuck up against this wall and we don't see them until we come around this corner. Like right now, if there's a guy sitting in this corner, he can see our gun coming through the doorway here. If he's waiting right here, he can shoot us. We still haven't seen him yet. But if we step further back here, now, if there was someone waiting right there, we would be able to see them. So we can take a shot on them as we're coming around the corner. But by having further distance off of this wall, it creates a better angle. And that is going to allow us to see further into this room. So same deal. We're going to pivot here as we work our way around and try and see as much of the room as possible before we make entry. So keep in mind that the further you are off of this wall, potentially the better your angle is going to be into the room. As we can see here, we can't see anything in the room when we're sucked up close to the wall. As we step off of the wall, we can start to see further into the room. Here we can see that deep corner without having anything exposed on this line here. Whereas if we suck all the way in, we can't see anything into that room. So that's why we want to stay off of the wall as we're approaching the door as much as we can. One, we need to take into account our distance from the tip of our muzzle back to our shoulder. We don't want to have our gun all the way up here, where if there's someone in this corner, they can see our muzzle coming through the door. They can start shooting at us as we start to make our way through the doorway. As soon as our muzzle gets into this threshold, our body needs to be right behind it. So if we can, when we're doing this pie, we want to stay on the outside, giving us a better angle into that room. Here's another good example of how staying further off of our cover is going to allow us to see a potential threat further down the hallway. So here we've got a T-intersection. We're not so worried about that. We're just going to use this as an example for illustrative purposes. But let's say we've got our bad guy here. he's facing this direction, facing the other direction. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. But say we've cleared everything ahead of us, and we know that we are going to be taking a left turn down this hall. So this hallway is wide enough for us to step out here or to step over here. But for us, for example purposes, we already know we want to go around this corner. So let's see where our body is before we can actually see this guy. So pay attention to this light colored area here that represents what we can see. So as we start to push our way up against this wall, obviously we can't see anything. We're staring at a wall. As we start to come around, we're starting to be able to see a little bit into this hallway. But as you can see right now, we've yet to really be able to see this guy. But our elbow here is sticking out around the corner. We can't see him and get our gun up to take a shot until we're practically all the way around this corner. So that's no bueno in my opinion. So instead we'll retreat back down here, and you'll see, again, just by watching this, as we step off of the wall, we can already see around this corner. So we'll start to slowly make our approach up here, staying on this opposite wall. And I'd say, boom, right there, we can for sure see this guy. And if you look over here, we have not yet crossed the threshold of this hallway. So here we can take a shot on the bad guy, all because we have extra distance off of this wall here. Again, if we suck into the wall, we can't see anything. The further off the wall we come, then we're going to be able to see around the corner further. And that's why when we take our T intersection here, we have guys set up on opposite sides of whichever direction they're looking. They've got the best angle down the hallway. Then at the same time, we'll go ahead and move and have both guys do a button hook. That's how we would take a T intersection. Again, for this demonstration, we're going to have a bad guy in each of these corners, and they all just have their muzzles oriented at the door, waiting for the entry team to come in. So as we talked about before, if we are able to have our number one man here stay further off of that door, he's going to be able to see our bad guy in the corner at the same time that he sees him. So we can take our shots from here. And again, if you think about who you're going up against, generally we are the superior trained force. We're going to have better shooting standards, we're going to have better accuracy, and it's harder to hit something from further away. If you put a meth head in the corner with a revolver and he's standing 1 foot away from the door, as soon as you come through the door, he's probably going to be able to hit you. But if you stand 10 meters away, 30 feet away, then I'm much more likely to be able to make my shot with my rifle than he would be possibly with his revolver. So also, would you rather get into a gunfight outside here in the hallway, or would you rather get in a gunfight here in the threshold? If we had this guy come through as number one, as soon as he's not going to be able to see that bad guy until he's right here. So my muzzle is practically through the threshold here. These guys are going to start shooting. If there's other unknown threats, they're going to be able to start taking you out from the door because you're trying to fight from the threshold. Instead, we can pull him back as our number two guy. And if this is number one, we can take our shots from outside the room. Once this guy's been dropped, we can slowly pie our way around, working all the way to that last corner. So here, we're going to see each other at the same time. We're able to take shots again from the outside of the room without having to make entry. So now we've put two guys down. We'll move our way in here until we've seen just about as much of the room as we can from outside. So there is still this one corner that we have to see, but now we know that, so we can make sure that when we make entry, our muzzles are oriented in this direction. This is what would be called running the rabbit. We'll say these guys have both been killed, and we just have our unknown area here. It follows this path. This area is all unknown. We've cleared all of this, so this is all known. So we're going to take our number one man, and we're going to orient him with his muzzle into this unknown space. We're going to have him move into the known with his muzzle pointed at the unknown. Again, distance is our friend in our engagement, but also, if you were the bad guy, would you rather have a moving target that's moving directly at you, just getting bigger as it approaches, Or would you rather shoot at someone who's moving laterally? I would rather shoot at someone who's moving straight at me. So, since we don't want to make the bad guy's life easy, we're going to move laterally into the known area while looking at the unknown. By doing this, it also allows our number 2 man to quickly get into the room. He does this button hook, and by the time he does the button hook, we'll be about here, and then we'll have a second gun in the fight. So this guy is going to be tracking us, moving this way, shooting at us the whole way, moving laterally, and then a second guy is going to appear right here in the doorway with another clear shot on him. So we would prefer to make entry like this. You can see both our muzzles are oriented this direction. If this guy is shooting at us, he's got to track us laterally, but we've got 2 muzzles in the fight ready to take him down. Now let's go over some common mistakes. These include rushing the entry, neglecting your sectors of fire, and poor communication. So a common example of a mistake would be rushing into your points of domination without really checking what's going on. So in this case, we've got our number 1 man. He's going to take this first corner. Number 2 is going to take the other hard corner. And number 3 is going to take this last corner here. But if you'll see in the video that if we just rush in here without taking a proper angle, without doing anything like we're supposed to, it's going to end up pretty poorly. So this first guy is going to come in, go to his point of domination over here. Number 2 will come in to his point of domination here, and number 3 will come here. So now we will contrast that with taking a proper angle and doing a correct pie. Avoid these pitfalls by staying disciplined and following your training. Remember, CQB is a team effort, and communication is just as important as technique. To wrap it up, angles are the foundation of effective CQB and room clearing. By understanding how angles work, you can minimize your exposure, control the space, and stay ahead of potential threats. Whether you're training for a real-world operation or just improving your skills, mastering angles is non-negotiable. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found the video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe, turn your notifications on. If you're interested in seeing more tactical training, click on one of the videos on the screen if you want to learn more about particular room clearing techniques. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.